Some of the characters we have grown up with are Batman, Catwoman, and Harley Quinn. It would be amusing to see what these characters would be charged with if they were in the real world. Case number 1. The Crimes of Batman. The 1989 film Batman was the first to feature the superhero character Batman from a comic book, which sparked popular interest. However, Batman was a more ruthless hero who broke so many laws that if he lived in the real world, he would be convicted of many life sentences. Here is a rundown of Batman's crimes. Charge number 1. The accused Batman is charged with second and third degree assault and battery for repeatedly sending scum to the hospital by breaking bones and injuring them. Using the scum as an excuse doesn't save Batman from the law, and he is sentenced to not more than 20 years or less than 2 years in prison. Charge number 2. The accused Batman is charged with vigilantism, as he takes the law into his own hands by fighting and killing the criminals by himself. The charges for vigilantism are still vague, but if he ever gets caught red-handed, he could get into some serious legal issues, namely 5 to 10 years in prison depending upon the type of vigilantism. Charge number 3. The accused Batman is charged with involuntary manslaughter after accidentally throwing Jack Napier into a rail of chemicals, killing him. It is a second-degree felony, and Batman is sentenced to a custodial sentence of up to 12 to 18 years. Charge number 4. The accused Batman is charged with domestic terrorism, as during his fight with the Joker, he threw his Batmobile into the chemical factory to drop explosives, resulting in destruction. It is a serious crime that can cause Batman to stay in prison for decades. Therefore, he is sentenced to life imprisonment. Charge number 5. The accused Batman is charged with operating a vehicle, the Batmobile, that isn't street legal. Therefore, Batman is slapped with a heavy fine of $10,000 for using a vehicle that isn't legal, has no insurance, no proof of ownership, and no license plate. Final statement. Batman is charged with assault, vigilantism, involuntary manslaughter, domestic terrorism, and driving an illegal vehicle. As a result, he is sentenced to $10,000 in penalties, 48 years in prison, and life in prison. Case number 2. The Crimes of Catwoman. Catwoman from the 2004 film is a shy girl who stands on the fine line between crime and justice. There is no doubt that what she did could get her into serious legal issues in the real world. Here is the rundown of Catwoman crimes. Charge number 1. The accused Catwoman is charged with burglary as she stole jewelry from the store and a man's car after escaping from prison. Catwoman is sentenced to 20 years in prison or a $100,000 fine for felony burglary, which is punishable by up to a year in prison. Charge number 2. The accused Catwoman is charged with jailbreak as she escapes the prison using her newfound powers. The jailbreak is a second-degree felony which can result in 15 years of additional imprisonment or probation and a $10,000 fine. Thus, Catwoman is sentenced to 15 years imprisonment and a $10,000 fine. Charge number 3. The accused Catwoman is charged with property destruction as she destroys the music systems of her neighbors and causes destruction in the jewelry store, among many instances. It is a Class 1 felony, and Catwoman is sentenced to 15 years in prison with a fine of up to $25,000. Charge number 4. The accused Catwoman is charged with trespassing as she sneaks into her former company headquarters, George's residence, and a private party. The offender Catwoman is therefore sentenced to 30 days in prison and might get probation orders. Charge number 5. The accused Catwoman is accused of fleeing the police at George's private party. It is a misdemeanor crime committed by Catwoman, and she is sentenced to 1 year of imprisonment with a $1,000 fine. Charge number 6. The accused Catwoman is charged with involuntary murder as she accidentally threw George's wife off the rails, killing her. It is a second-degree felony, and Catwoman is sentenced to a custodial sentence of up to 12 to 18 years. Final statement. The accused Catwoman is guilty of burglary, jailbreak, property destruction, fleeing the police, and involuntary murder. Thus, she is sentenced to 20 years in prison with a $100,000 fine, 15 years imprisonment and a $10,000 fine. 15 years in prison with a fine of up to $25,000. 30 days in prison and a custodial sentence of up to 12 to 18 years. Case number 3. The Crimes of Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn, a former criminal psychologist, entered the world of crime after becoming the Joker's sidekick and became a longtime foe of Batman. If Harley had been presented before a jury, she would have received multiple sentences. Here is a rundown of Harley Quinn's crimes. Charge number 1. The accused, Harley Quinn, is charged with attempted murder as she tries to kill Batman in the famous Mad Love comic in order to prove her love for the Joker. It's unsettling to consider what Harley can do for the Joker. As attempted murder is a felony offense, she is sentenced to a prison term which is half the life sentence for a murder conviction. Charge number 2. The accused, Harley Quinn, is charged with rescuing prisoners from custody as she helps the Joker escape the prison when she is assigned as her psychiatrist. The penalty for assisting with the escape of a confined criminal could include up to 5 years of imprisonment. Thus, Harley Quinn is sentenced to 5 years in prison. Charge number 3. Harley Quinn is charged with accessory to murder, since she was an accomplice in Robin's murder, as shown in her introductory scene in Suicide Squad. The murder accomplice faces the same charges as the principal offender. Thus, Harley Quinn is sentenced to life imprisonment. Charge number 4. The accused, Harley Quinn, is charged with mass murdering children by exploding them with explosives hidden inside video games she gave them in Detective Comics number 23. This is Harley Quinn's most heinous crime, and she is sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole. Final statement. The accused, Harley Quinn, is guilty of attempted murder, rescuing prisoners from custody, being a murder accomplice, and mass murder. Her heinous acts must end, and she is sentenced to 3 life sentences and 1 5-year prison term. And in Harley's case, she has no chance of parole. The court is adjourned. We have come to the end of the video. If you have enjoyed watching our filmy court drama, hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon for the latest updates.